Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now. I think we're good. We're going to do this one by one. Is that you, Ira?
Testing.
Bam! Now watch this. Corey Clark, say something.
Corey Clark is in the house.
Bam! Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's roll. We got it.
I think we should do it like that this whole show. You have to turn on our mic to talk and then turn off our mic to talk, and it'll be smooth. It'll be great.
I had it done. I just wanted to make sure we were all in the right place. All the right things were leveled up, especially now since we're incorporating Corey on the computer. So we're good. We're all good.
This was like watching Sully land in the river.
Yeah. Skillfully? Yeah. Agreed. And what we can say is, yes, of course, welcome in. And yay, sausage right off the bat.
I went to Register Sausage social media before we started this because I wanted to see if there's a promo code. I don't know, maybe a pre-draft promo code or something like that. There wasn't one, but you know what there was? I missed this tweet from a week or so ago. Somebody in the Register family tweeted a picture of some victory sausage at a FSU baseball game because you can apparently get Register sausage at a lot of FSU sporting events now, which is really awesome.
Nice. I get worried when you say they're tweeting pictures of victory sausage.
I thought that was a different thing.
Let's get DM. They don't tweet. But you can have your Register sausage anywhere in the really it's almost anywhere in the country at this point, but across the Southeast, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, up to South Carolina, not every city in all these places, but they have a coverage map. If you go to the website, registermeats.com, and see where it's available. And if it's not in your if you're not lucky enough to be in one of those areas, you can have it delivered to you fresh. It's delicious. The jalapeno cheddar is still might be number one in my heart.
I think it's my favorite.
The andouille is fantastic. But then the basic premium just pork sausage is great too. You can check out. They also have the sampler with a bunch of there's the tweet. Thanks, Tom, for sharing that. Look at that.
Look at that. That's nice. And good seats, whoever took that picture.
And also well manicured hand.
Mm-hmm.
But go to registermeats.com for your
look at that. All right, Tom. That seems excessive. That's a bit much. We're staring at a man's hands. Good call on the Register sausage and well promoted today, boys. Hey, this is our first get together post spring. Plus, it's a busy time. We've got baseball tonight and a big weekend series on the road against Duke. And then, of course, Ira is at the courthouse breaking it down yesterday on the JCS, joining us after a long day of court reporting.
My buddy Steven texted me to make sure I was okay.
Oh, when that car was creeping. Did you see it, Corey, when he came on yesterday?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Corey doesn't watch your show or listen to your show.
That's true. So, Corey, Ira came on the ever-popular, wildly popular Jeff Cameron show yesterday, and he did so live via video outside the courthouse.
Oh, so he didn't look like he was 31 again.
It was awesome. He was there via the courthouse, but as he was breaking down the judge's decision,
I was 42 in that picture, by the way.
Oh,
this car pulls up and goes past Corey, stops, and begins to back slowly up. And I said at that point, I'm into the interview. I'm not going to be responsible for watching my man get assaulted on camera.
Jeff thought we were back in shady Tampa.
I did.
Or we on Jimmy Carter.
Or that we were in your hometown in Miami there, buddy. We
everybody's safe down there.
So what I thought was, I know my man can protect himself, but he's going to need time.
I saw the call.
I was going to say,
aware of my surroundings.
I knew you would be. You saw the reflection, but I wanted you to be able to get your hands up. That's all I'm saying. Wanted you to be able to get your hands up. So it was a little dicey.
So who was the guy in the car? Who was in the car? What was the car?
I wasn't standing around to find out. As soon as Jeff let me off the air, I was running.
You sprinted down the sidewalk.
Like when you had your squirrel on your leg. You seen
he
that?
Hopped you sprinted and he hopped.
Yeah, that's
with
right.
The squirrel. Yeah, no, all time great little moment there. But so the point is, very busy time. Very busy time. We have a lot to catch up on, plus headliner questions.
Plus, it's the first time we've all come together to talk about the spring showcase. I know you guys have obviously dissected on your shows, and we talked about it, Tom and I, last night on the Smash, but we could compare some notes on the spring showcase.
Yeah, the showcase is just like every other spring game in the past. I get it that fans, it's a wonderful time for people to get together and to break up the monotony of not having football in anticipation for the upcoming year. It's just hard to take a lot away. We're really fortunate, the three of us, you get access to the practices. So I don't know that any one show, like a showcase, is going to change your opinion about anything. It might further entrench your thoughts on areas of concern and or, really things that you're excited about. But that game didn't do anything for me. And I hate the format. It's not their fault. This is the way it is in college football anymore. A lot of coaches probably don't even wish that they had to do this if they had their druthers.
Right. Oh, yeah, I think that's 100% true. The only thing that I think changed for me a little bit was I feel a little bit more urgency about the receivers.
Yep, you and me both, buddy.
And Corey probably is the third, but I just felt like it's not that there were, I don't know. It's not like that there was anything good during the month before that. I just it hammered the point home because, none of us have been enamored by them that whole spring.
No.
And then you see a couple of just bad plays. I mean, just not good competitive, what you should be expecting from guys who've been in the system for some time at Florida State. So that to me was a little bit illuminated, but everything else was pretty much what we expected, I think.
Corey, I want you to weigh in on that in a second, but I do think it's interesting because, I certainly voiced an opinion going into camp that I thought there was a real good chance because of the depth and the speed that maybe they would be able to be even a more effective offense. Now, I was incorporating the fact that they were all banged up last year, so a lot of their ineffectiveness in the second half of the season on offense had to do with the fact they were hurt. But I thought they had an opportunity to take a big leap, and maybe they still will. Maybe they will in the fall. But I'm not so sure I believe that anymore because I did not see the step forward from some of the veteran receivers that I was hoping to see. I thought we might see a massive leap forward because he's so talented from a guy like Hakeem Williams, and I didn't see that. Not that I don't think he's going to be able to be great at some point. I just didn't see it this spring. And I saw too many drops, which is something I voiced concern about, probably second week of camp. And that really didn't change over the course of the camp.
And Destin Hill getting hurt.
Well, that hurts bad because he was having a great camp, and it's a shame. So, yeah, there are a lot of factors that weigh into it. But now my opinion going into camp that I thought they could be a better offense, it's tempered a little bit without question. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, we looked at that wide receiver room and thought, obviously they're not going to be as strong 1-2, but 1 through 11, because they had 14 guys on scholarship. You're like, they might be overall a better receiver room, and that just didn't play out. And the beauty that I always want to reiterate to people listening is this, unlike every other college beat in America, this was not our first time seeing this group. So it's not like they might in some places maybe the receivers have a bad day, but they were great all spring, and there's nothing to worry about. I think we know from watching them over the last month, this is not a great receiver room. Malik Benson's the best one. Jakai's had a really nice spring. Other than that, is there anybody that fills you with confidence that they are a real player?
The only thing I would say, and this is where it's hard to evaluate. It's just we do think these DBs are really, really good.
Yeah, I think the secondary is very good, period.
So for a guy like Hakeem, I mean, if he's going up against the diet of Azaria Thomas and, Fentrell Cypress.
Yeah, Saturday to Saturday, that won't be the case.
Right. I mean, so
yeah,
that's the only thing that makes me think, okay, maybe we're grading these guys too hard, because that was the thing kind of moving on to DJ. Even the balls, he forced a couple passes, obviously, but it wasn't like he was not seeing somebody else open. Like, guys were blanketed. And I mean, maybe it's partly because
they know what's coming.
They know what's coming. Norvell's probably being very vanilla.
He is.
And so you don't have guys open, but that may also be part of, just the quality of the defensive backfield.
But this is the frustrating part. You're going to have an opinion. We're paid to do that, to look at it, to provide context for our listeners and readers. And on the other hand, you kind of preface all of those opinions by saying, look, they ran a vanilla offense against a defense that's seen every one of these plays. They know what's coming. And it happens to be what I think is going to be one of the more athletic secondaries in the country, not just the ACC, the country. They got length, size, and speed for days back there. So, and you've got a quarterback learning a new offense. So there's all these factors that would obviously, gear towards the defense, and it did. So we shouldn't be surprised. At the same time, you can't just not tell people that there were way too many drops all spring, and you can't not tell people that you weren't a little disappointed in certain aspects of the receiver room. I think they're both fair things to say.
What's interesting as we were thinking about it, I think the four most talented guys, just pure talent, and I'm taking Jakai out of it, but the other four guys that I think are the most talented guys on the team are Malik Benson, Destin Hill, probably Jaylen Brown, and I think Hakeem Williams. Well, none of those guys have played more than 1 year Division I football. Hakeem and Jaylen Brown essentially didn't play Division I football last year. Destin Hill really didn't play. We don't know what Destin's future is going to be as injury-wise, health-wise. But, you know, the guys that we think were the upgrade in talent in this position room don't have a lot of experience. So the hope is, you know, what we saw Hakeem because Hakeem didn't look very good in August or in April last year either. And then by September, he looked like a different dude. So maybe
his body, literally, yes.
Maybe he'll take that leap again. I think Malik Benson proved to all of us, hopefully he's okay and healthy, that he has a chance to be I think he's an NFL receiver. I don't know about the other guys, though. But the beauty is Jaylen Brown is really inexperienced. Like, he played half a season. You know, he was at LSU for 4 months. So there is a lot of room to grow. And that's why it kind of, for me, the more disappointing aspect of the spring for me with that position room was Kentron and Darian. I just thought this was their time to shine. Kentron was so good last spring, and then this spring he didn't carry it over.
I brought that up to Tom on the Smash. Who was playing DB last spring? Because Vandrevius and Kentron went off every day at practice, and that was the last. I know Kentron was hurt some of the fall, but even when he was available, he wasn't doing much. Yeah. Vandrevius didn't do anything. And then the spring, they've both been pretty quiet. Kentron's had a few moments. I don't know if Vandrevius has had 2 good moments in the spring. He's in the portal.
Yeah, now he's in the portal.
But what happened last spring? I wish I could go back in time.
Yeah, I mean, Cypress was here. Azarie was here. I think Renardo practiced in the spring. Yeah,
it was weird. I don't know. I mean, Vandrevius was lighting the world on fire, hit the ground running. We all thought, wow, if that's the beginning.
He was probably, because he was an early rollie, my guess is he was probably matched up against those freshmen DBs.
And he was torching their ass. It's never been a question of ability with him. And so, you know, I'm not surprised to see him hit the portal. I think that there were growing frustrations on both sides there. So be it, it's going to happen.
That's old dad 77 in the chat. Instead of all day, Dre wants to call him some of the morning.
Sometimes Dre is in the portal. Yeah. You know, it's not surprising to see him go in the portal. I guess let's get our opinions out there that we're going to see in the neighborhood of 7 to 10 guys at the portal from FSU, don't you think? I mean, I don't think there's any question. We already have 2 that we know of, right? And
10's definitely, I think 10's probably close to it. It could be a little bit more. I'd be surprised if it's much less.
Well, and they have those meetings, right? I mean, like when you conclude practices and you get done and everything has been finalized, then you get a chance as a coaching staff to sit down with your guys and have honest dialogue about where you see them and how you see their role and what they need to do. And a lot of times players are not going to like what they hear. And it goes both ways. You know, I mean, coaches may be surprised by what they hear. So there'll be several things there, but I would guess that 7 to 10 is an easy number to bank on here for Florida State in terms of players departing in the transfer.
Probably, I would guess, at least 3 receivers, right? I mean, Vandrevius is 1, but they still got a glut of scholarship receivers out there, guys that can probably play somewhere. But again,
especially if you're going to go, if you're in the market for more, which they appear to be. Matt has a piece up right now on our website, warchant.com, with some of the receivers that they've already been in contact with in the portal.
Yeah, and you've got guys here that have been here since 2020. That still don't have an earned spot as a starter. And it's like, okay, maybe they'll just, if they see them getting portaled over again, it might be like, okay, let me go try to find a place where I can play a lot. Portier's the guy, man. I'm just telling you, I think Portier is I think he can be a good college receiver. I think he's proven that. He's made plays. I do think he was really good in the spring. He was good against Georgia. He was the only guy that was good against Georgia. And those were real DBs he was going against where he's making a 60-yard catch. I think he can be a player. I hope he becomes better than what we saw in the spring, or maybe just a little slowed by an injury or something. I don't know.
Let me ask you this though. So if you're Mike Norvell and you went out and got DJ Uyunglele and you went out and got 15 portal guys and you
nailed that pronunciation, by the way, though, Ira.
I don't know. I'm doing my best, man.
I've crushed the spelling. I think I don't even have to look it up anymore.
Our whole staff. I was thinking about that the other day. Is the one person who has to read everybody's content, like. Everybody, Matt nails it. You've nailed it. Tom nails it. We're all killing it.
You can look it up, Ira.
I know, but that used to be tedious when he played.
Yes, it did, and I did do it the first probably 6 stories I wrote, and then
the problem with a name like that is once you have it down, you still have to go back and look because you're asking yourself that may not be right.
No, I get it now, but I used to have to copy and paste it. Every time I used his name again, I would just paste. I'm not even trying to pronounce it, but I do know how to spell it now. So,
But the point is, you made these moves because you said this is not going to be a step back season.
You don't want it to be a rebuild.
You want to be in the playoff. You want to win the ACC. Can you trust that a guy who's been here 5 years And how many catches does Kentron have in his career?
Well,
that he's going to be he's going to be a dependable number 2 receiver in the fall. Can you trust that based on what we've seen so far?
So the thing about it is, Corey, I agree with both of your sentiments right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in the portal.
I would hope not. I
can
see
I'm
other
not saying
guys.
I'm rooting for it. I want people to understand that I'm just giving you an opinion of what I think is going to happen or might happen, and I wouldn't be surprised is a better way of saying it. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in the portal.
That's all I'd say. I wouldn't be shocked if either he or Darion Williamson.
Yeah,
did.
I wouldn't be surprised if both did. And I'm not rooting for it. I'm not against the guys. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if Deuce is gone, if Kentron is gone, if Darion Williamson is gone. We already lost, obviously, one. Travis Jacobs is gone. I wouldn't be surprised if you lost 4 or 5 guys in that receiver room. And listen, that's the part of it. It just has to be that way as you elevate your talent level. Some guys get washed out. Doesn't mean they can't play. Doesn't mean that a change of scenery won't do them good and that they'll end up starting and having a successful career somewhere. But I do think maybe in some cases time is up here. Because if they're going to go out and bring in, a guy, maybe 2, well, hell, man, what's that telling you?
15
I think that's the question is who's coming in. Because, again, you don't want to have 4 guys leave and you only bring in 1, and then you have a pit game from last year where you have no receivers available. Like, you want to have some depth and not freshman depth. By the way, McCoy is a guy that did not play in the spring game that I think was by far the most impressive of any of the freshmen. Redshirt, I guess Hakeem's a sophomore. Any of the second-year or first-year guys, I thought Lawayne McCoy was the best receiver out there for those guys, not counting Destin Hill because he missed so much of it.
But the point, and I made this point last night in the Smash following, I guess, after listening to you and Aslan talk on Wake Up, because they brought up, I think Aslan brought up, it might have been Corey, that the 22 receiving core was probably similar to what this one looks like right now. But the difference is, in what I said last night, is DJ isn't Jordan Travis. Like, Jordan Travis in 2022 made up for so much because with all the running and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't do that last year, and they had a better receiving core. Well, if you go back to if you step back in receiving core, you're going to need a quarterback that's making plays with his feet, and that's not really DJ's game. He can do it, but it's not like Jordan.
You know what they do have, though, both of you guys, that they didn't really have last year, but they did have in 22, and I think we all think they're going to be better as a running game.
Right.
The running game really should help. The last year it was all receivers.
But Jordan also helped that with his running.
I think DJ will help that with I think he does a good job with at least on the spring game. He did a real good job holding the mesh point for so long and had a couple of nice runs.
He looks really good around the zone read for sure.
I do believe that they're going to have to run the ball better with DJ for a couple of reasons. First of all, I do think that, again, they're not as elite on the front line of that receiving core. Same for side end situation, but also if you're going to take advantage of his skill set, which is to throw the ball down the field, he needs extra time to do that. Plays have to develop down the football field. You better be able to block it up. And if you want to utilize that strength, you better be able to run, because then you're going to throw off a play action over their heads and let those long developing down the field plays happen. I think it's another question. At right tackle, I think you have a question mark, and we could come back and talk about it. In fact, we'll do it in just a moment. Seminole Headlines, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
You're heating and air conditioning system doesn't check with you before it takes a break. That's why we're always ready to help. Any day, anytime, anywhere. And with our annual service agreement, there are no overtime charges. Ever. At Verno Heating and Air, we will always be there for you.
Verno Heating and Air Conditioning.
License CAC 1816-186.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
From the front lines of the fight against socialism, it's America in View.
Man, America is under attack. You and I have been on the front lines of the conservative revolution for the last 25 years.
Used to trust. The mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. Time is short before something big happens, and that's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure 4-week emergency food kits for each member of your family. Each kit contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $50 on each 4-week food kit you purchase. Plus, get free shipping on Ready Hour 4-week emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar power generators, water filtration units, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your unmarked boxes ship the same day. Shop mypatriotsupply.com today. mypatriotsupply.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Yeah, kind of curious what you guys think about that situation at tackle. I've been a little concerned about it. Now, we'll see how they address it, if they address it in the portal. You know, coaches will give you the answers as to whether they agree with us, with whom they bring in. That's how that works. If you say that you're worried about a position and they don't bring anybody in, clearly they're telling you they're not worried about it. So I am interested to see if they feel similarly that they could use maybe another offensive lineman or two. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I brought this up on Warchant, Ira. Wake Up Warchant, great. The steadily growing in popularity podcast, Wake Up Warchant.
I like the way you phrased that.
Don't you think that like you could say that for every position? Literally. We could be better here. We could be better here. At some point, you have to just say this is what we are, because I think we think they could be better at wide receiver, tackle, linebacker. They need another body at the defensive line. Could use a safety. Could use maybe a fourth corner. Could use a.
I don't think we need another corner.
Probably not. But if there's a really good one out there, you wouldn't turn them down.
I mean, if Dion's out there or something,
right.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's what's so a tight end. Like, that's what's so remarkable about this day and age is that, what do you got? You got a week left. You could legitimately go improve your team at every single position if you wanted to. But to what end, and what does that do to the people that are on your roster?
Yeah, and
those are the interesting decisions that they have to make.
Theoretically, and it is a great thing. Like, we all, people yesterday when Van Dravius went into the portal, I had a couple of people text me who don't, follow the team as closely, but they were just like, what in the world, mad. And like, I think that's the reaction most people have about the portal is thinking about the players you lose, but it is amazing that you can go through a spring and kind of decide, you know what, I want to pick up a free agent at, tight end. So that is cool. At the same time, obviously because of their numbers, like when we talk about them maybe losing 8 to 10 guys in the portal, that's just so they can bring in a couple because they're over.
Yeah, they're over. Yeah.
They're going to be, if everybody stayed and they didn't get anybody else, they'd be over scholarships this fall. So they have to lose a few anyway, and then they have to lose a few more to make room for anybody else they want to bring in.
Can I interrupt you again real quick on that, Ira?
Go ahead, buddy.
If they had 88 players on scholarship, guys that they wanted, so they're over by 3, could they not use like NIL to pay for this? They could make those 3 extras walk-ons, but then the NIL could pay their enrollment and everything. Couldn't that work that way? So theoretically, you could have a roster of real scholarship players.
I think in theory, you probably could.
Theoretically, you could. It would be harder. The one thing you got to remember about scholarship guys is there's an esteem part of that. Guys don't want to be walk-ons. I mean, when you think of, there have been players here who have been walk-ons that also had nice NIL deals, but went somewhere else because they want to be on scholarship. So I wouldn't see. I don't think you'd move guys down. Maybe what they've done in the past, even before this world, was you might have a guy come in if you're over scholarships because more kids qualified than you thought, more kids stayed in college. Then maybe you ask a kid, hey, can you come in January to get us through this scholarship crunch, which guys don't like to do either. So I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think it's more likely you'll see some guys leave.
But it is something you could do. Like if you're at 85 and you're stuck at 85, then Keon Coleman is available. You take Keon Coleman and then you tell somebody, hey, man, you still have to pay a single dime for school, but it's going to be a different way. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Part of the problem with that, you could do it. You're right, Corey. You, in theory, could do it. The problem is, though, and I don't like to describe it as a budget per se, but there is. I mean, like the NIL opportunities are only so many, and they can only afford so much, and you're not going to.
So if you got to take another $80,000, which is what it costs, probably, or $50,000, whatever it costs to have a tuition and all the fees and all that stuff.
I think that just to clarify for people when we talk about this, because it does make me laugh. I get emails about this and I see stuff on the message boards about this, and people hear what they want to hear. But what you're doing is you're fine tuning a roster. This isn't to say they're not going to be a good team if they remain as is.
Right.
We know they're good, but the goal is never to just sit idly by and accept that, if you don't have to, accept that you're going to have an area of real concern or weakness. Not in this era, not with a coach who has mined the portal better than anybody in the country. So
you're trying to optimize it.
Correct. And because you have a really good collective in the Battle's Inn, and you have a coaching staff that done a great job of assessing what players are from other programs and how they'd fit in your program, that means you trust them because they've done such a good job. So when you sit back and say at the end of a spring showcase or at the end of weeks of watching practice that, hey, they could be better at tackle, they could be better at linebacker, or wherever you're choosing to focus, you're saying that because you think those are areas of concern or weakness, comparatively speaking. Like Corey's right. Yes, you could use a great player at every position. Who the hell wouldn't want more great players? But in truth, what you're doing is when we come in here to talk about it is we say, all right, well, they're good. They're good enough to compete to win the conference, which gets them into the college football playoff. So if we just accept that they're a college football playoff team, all right, now you want to win the championship. What would it take to win a championship? Because that's your goal. Once you stop sucking, the goal is to then get back to being peak efficient Florida State. When Florida State's right, they win championships and they compete for championships. So that's what you're comparing against.
Yeah, and back to Corey's point was I agree that there are places in probably 4 or 5 positions, excuse me, where you'd like to get somebody. I think it's going to be, to me, the no doubters. Defensive tackle, you need to get somebody, to fit into that 2
rotation. Yep.
I think you need at least one wide receiver. Probably offensive tackle, to your point, if they don't feel good about that position.
Is it Rizzo coming in? Is it the Rizzo kid coming in, or is he?
Yeah, transfer from Harvard. But I think the talk was when he committed that he was probably going to be an interior lineman. He played tackle there. The talk is that he might end up being a center, I think. But you got everything else is, to me, it's like it's kind of best available. If you I don't know that there's anything else urgent, or anything where you have to just have a body. if you can get more than that. But to me, those are the ones it would be a disappointment if they came out of this portal without a really good receiver and a good defensive tackle.
Yeah, and I think they'll go after it. And then I think that they'll also look at offensive tackle, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I also do believe they're in a place at that position group where you don't take a guy just to take a guy.
I agree.
You have to have – it has to be a guy that's going to be a starter or make a real difference on your team.
It's got to be better than the Jalen Earlys.
Yes.
And some of those guys.
Yeah.
Because, those are guys who have been in the system. And,
yeah, absolutely. Got to be better than that. And I think, if you find a guy out there that you see – let's say Byers projects as a starting right tackle right now. If you see somebody that you think is definitively better and has done it at the Power 5 level and he wants to come here, I think you would entertain that.
It's very different from 3 years ago when they brought in like Devontae Love-Taylor because he had played football before. No offense. We love DLT.
Yeah,
he was part of the family.
You're not ripping him.
He was part of the Warchant family.
Right, yeah.
We still probably play his ads on the during the
Well, that's the point we're making, though, that's how far they've come, is that now we talk about certain segment groups where it would be a luxury item, but not a necessity, and other position groups where you'd say, well, can you get somebody better because you're not elite there?
Not where
as opposed to, we just don't have enough dudes that can stand upright.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we were before, right? I mean, that's the tough part of all of this. So I think, I wouldn't be, and this is what the portal allows for. And you have a staff that's done an awesome job of assessing those needs and getting guys to not just say yes, but guys to come in and do the right thing in the locker room and go to work and be about the culture. That's why you make the suggestions, because you trust the people pulling the trigger on the decisions.
I really think right now the one necessity, two, you're right, and Ira, you mentioned it. I think you need a defensive lineman. Doesn't have to be a superstar. I think you need a wide receiver that can really play, a wide receiver that has put up numbers in the college level and is a big-time talent, not just a dude, not just a guy that can add some depth. I think you need to go get yourself a starting wide receiver. I think those are the two necessities. And after the spring, not just the spring game, again, we get the benefit of getting to watch all these practices. This is not an opinion that was formed from 2 hours on Saturday.
Right.
Go get yourself a starting wide receiver, and then this offense, with the way it can apparently run the ball, could be really fun.
The nice thing is, Malik Benson came to Florida State in large part because of DJ. Like, fans can have their own opinions of what DJ is, but he's a guy that's played college football for 3 full seasons. They know he's not going to fall apart in the moment. And some of these guys have been at school. Some of these guys in the portal, Matt wrote about a few of them today on the site. They're at schools that have terrible quarterback play. Kid from Arizona State. Imagine he caught 65 passes last year with the quarterback situation they had at Arizona State.
Right.
So, and the guy Penn State wants to be with a more veteran quarterback.
Ira, to your
this
point,
should be attractive, especially when you got Mike Norvell calling plays.
Well, to your point, a year ago, I was beating the drum about
Keon did,
I was beating the drum that they had to go get another receiver. And I said at the time, if that Keon Coleman kid is interested, you better go get him. One of the reasons I said you better go get him is, I thought they needed him to, that's what Corey's saying right now. But I also thought, that dude had 77 receptions at Michigan State with that ass-sorry quarterback and that ass-sorry league for passing. My God, imagine what he'll be when he comes here with a real offense and a real quarterback and a coach that played the position. Now, I couldn't have guessed that he was going to get hurt halfway through the season. We saw glimpses of greatness, and then he got hurt. So we know it was the right move. And at the end of the day, even when he was hurt, he still won a bunch of jump balls, including the Clemson game.
When LSU and Clemson, you probably don't win. You may not win either one of those.
Yeah, so he was a stud. So you get, when you identify those things and you call it out, and you're like, if they got a chance to get him, then you would want to go do it. I agree with the two of you. I think those two positions for sure, and then I would throw in offensive tackle at this point. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in just a moment.
Your local news now.
Florida State University and the Atlantic Coast Conference returned to court Monday as a judge assigned to the case considered a motion to dismiss FSU's lawsuit. Florida State is seeking to get out of its agreement with the ACC with millions of dollars in penalties on the line. The ACC swiftly filed its own dueling suit against FSU in North Carolina back in December. If the conference has its way, FSU would owe upward of $130 million. It would not retain its media rights. Florida State fans could now wait months for the court to rule in the case after Monday, as Circuit Judge John Cooper made made it clear that neither side is winning. Judge Cooper agreed with the ACC that FSU failed to include enough specifics in his legal complaint. Cooper then gave the university 7 days to address the issue and amend their lawsuit. The ACC will have 20 days then to respond after that amended lawsuit is filed. There will be another hearing set after that, and the judge said mediation could begin within the next 4 months. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 78. Winds out of the southeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows dip down to about 52. Clear skies tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 82. Dry Thursday and Friday under mainly sunny skies with highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 73.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hey folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks, and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at mackandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Got a question here from Blake, who writes, who's the it factor on the team now? Who do we feel like is the guy to build around? So he's wondering, I guess the alpha, as the kids would talk about now, the sigma, whoever it is, I don't know, that is the leader of this team right now. Do they have one?
I mean, it might be Shaheem Brown, vocally. I mean, Shaheem is relentless, dude. Like at practice, he is. It's fun to watch him. It's fun to watch him, just the way he elevates the competition in the whole team. You know, I mean, he is constantly jawing to those guys in offense, no matter what happens. And to the offensive coaches, to me, he's kind of got that big personality. I don't know if, some of the other great players don't really have big voices. Like Marvin Jones Jr., I don't think he's ever going to be like a huge talker. Azaria is not, Azaria talks some. He's done more this spring. But I don't know if there's any clear alpha like a Jared Verse.
On defense, but offense, who is it? Like, I don't even know if anybody's in the running on offense. As far as a personality-wise, I think you hope DJ is, and you hope Malik Benson is guys that can be the it factor as far as.
I think Malik's got some of it.
Malik's seems to be kind of a consummate professional in a weird way. I mean, he's so mature when you talk to him.
Right.
He's a guy that took to leadership right away, but it's more by doing the right thing minute to minute. I don't think he's going to be trash talking players.
Right.
I don't think it's that kind of like bow up sort of thing. Like Verse got under people's skin. Verse was, a guy that people wanted to fight sometimes because he could be difficult. But I don't know that they have that guy. I don't know that they need that guy. You always need your quarterback to assume some form of leadership. It's the most important position on the field. You have to have it. But that also can be done by a soft-spoken guy who just does the right thing every day. See Jordan Travis.
It was funny. Rashad Green was at practice. Well, he was at Pro Day. He came to Pro Day to watch those guys. He came back. I guess they were also having that legacy weekend, and I was talking to him a little bit, and we were talking about there's a player on the team that was a former player on the team getting ready for the draft, and somebody on the staff was saying, how much he's matured, and basically, just explaining that they're so happy for him because for a while they were worried, he'd just get in his own way, just make bad decisions, just not always do the right thing. And I made a joke to Rashad about, maybe a player he might have played with at the time that had some issues along those ways. Yep. And he was talking about, and I just remembered back to that time where Rashad basically had to almost I think he went to Jameis and was like, listen, dude, you can't do this anymore. You can't do the things you've done as high profile as you are. We don't think you're a bad guy. We're not mad at you, but
the immaturity can't happen.
You need, and so Rashad Green, who is maybe the quietest guy on that team, was the guy that went to Jameis Winston and said, dude, no, you're going to sit in my apartment on Friday night and we're going to hang out. That's what you're doing.
Play a little Madden.
Yeah. I mean, but that's leadership. That's not out there.
That's really good leadership. And there are a lot of guys in any locker room that are like that. You'd never know it because they're not going to tell you about it, and they're not going to be out front about it, and they're not over the top boisterous, and they're not a loudmouth like me. They're just somebody who's quiet, but they're observing all the time. And they know the impact, in the room and in the locker room and on the field. And so they can go over to a guy and say, look, we need you. I mean, probably more than we need anybody else. You're playing the most important position, but I also need you to understand the importance of what you do every second of every day. Yeah, it's cool when you have that. Coaches love players like that when they know they can just entrust the locker room to police itself. Every coach is vying for that. Is let the guys run the locker room.
And you remember, I was so impressed. Well, we haven't talked to all the transfers since spring started, but when they all came in and they had their entrance interviews with us, they all were so mature. And you hope somebody like Lola Hea, who's only here for a year, will be willing to be a leader, even though maybe he doesn't even feel like this is his program right now. But hopefully by August, it is his program. Hopefully he's not just here, although it'd be great if he used those 3 months to be an NFL draft pick, because that means he played well. But hopefully he becomes a part of the culture, and because I think he would be a voice that mattered. I think Roydell Williams would be a big voice that mattered.
Definitely.
Malik Benson, who we just talked about, guys like that. If they'll take ownership of the program and not just be mercenaries, which to Norvell's credit, it seems like that's the culture here. Is the transfers come in and embrace the culture and then become part of it, not just outsiders and interlopers. So hopefully that's what happens, because I think those guys could be good leaders too.
Nice use of interlopers.
Yeah.
Dave writes,
they're carpetbaggers is what they are.
I just like saying interlopers, so I perked up when you did. Not to go full Dabo, writes Dave. By the way, never go full Dabo. But has our use of, that's a really great reference, by the way. But has our use of the transfer portal stunted the development of players like Hakeem and Early? Less first-team practice and game reps means less experience. Well, I think to any degree, not to the negative, but I think to any degree that you bring in players from outside the program and recruit over players in the portal, you are, by definition, probably stunting growth because, yes, they're not going to get as many reps. You're also stunting a whole lot of L's. So there's a trade-off there where you're like, he won't grow up as fast and become what I need him to be as fast as I'd like. We also won't suck this Saturday because this kid's good that we're starting in front of him. So,
and in some cases, you mentioned Jalen Early. Alex Atkins would say the exact opposite. That playing Maurice Smith and Darius Washington and Robert Scott
when they were freshmen
was not. Playing them as freshmen was not good for them physically because they didn't get a chance to really build their bodies in the weight room. They had to go play, and then they had to deal with a lot of injuries.
We were in a vicious cycle with that for a long time.
Dealt with a lot of injuries because of that. So. When Jalen Early does get to play, hopefully he'll be more physically ready. Now, Hakeem's different, and he's had opportunities, man. And Corey could talk about it because Corey watches the receivers and DBs probably more than anybody, and they all get a ton of at-bats. It's not like he's sitting on the sideline watching the older guys play.
Also, Hakeem, when he had opportunities a year ago, made the most of them. He came into camp fat and out of shape, got in great shape.
Spring camp.
Yeah, spring camp. We're talking about spring, close spring practice. So this is a year ago. So comes into spring, he's fat and out of shape. I joked that he was close to being a tight end. Comes in the fall, looks great, attacks all of the things that they want attacked, like the reps also being a better, a willing blocker, all of those things. So he shoots up the depth chart. He gets an opportunity. We start to see him in games. He's playing well when he gets those opportunities, including one electrifying play in which you're like, oh my gosh, look at that speed. Look at what he can be. And then he gets hurt. And that's what stunted his growth, is he got hurt and he missed weeks on end. I mean, you can't continue to get better. You're not getting game reps at all. You're not even getting practice reps because you got hurt. So really, I think that's the problem. I will say I thought we'd see a better step forward in the spring, but per the things we alluded to earlier, it makes it kind of hard. The defense certainly knows what's coming. All the tells are figured out after a week. And they ran a vanilla offense on Saturday. They weren't showing you anything. These guys knew what was coming. Every play you could watch guys kind of cheat or lean. I mean, we can all see that. So, again, maybe he will in the fall, and maybe when they're not going up against elite defensive backs or very, very good defensive backs every rep, you might see more progress.
I think, number one, I want to cut you off, Ira. We don't body shame on this show. Jeff does apparently, but I'm not going to sit here and co-sign that Hakeem Williams was fat. He was a little chubby for a wide receiver, a Division I five-star Division I wide receiver. He did not look in April of last year like he looked in September of last year. So, but hey, we don't body shame around here. How could we?
Corey, it's all relative to him being a 5-star with huge expectations. Right. So everybody knows I'm not talking about the dude walking in the mall.
Right.
Jeremy in the chat says, great seeing you all over the weekend. I wanted to say same to you, Jeremy. And I also want to say, I was thinking about this over the weekend at all the events that we had going on. What about what if we coin the Warchant family? Because I feel like, man, it's just cool. Like at the Moon, you guys were at the Corner Pocket.
Yeah.
And I was over at the Moon at the Battle's End event.
Yeah,
and it was just cool how many people brought up the fact that like they wanted to go to the Corner Pocket, but they wanted to
they were just torn. Well, where to go?
And then people went to both.
They did.
And I just thought it was cool. It's just cool that we've got this. And then, the event on Saturday at Hotel Indigo. It's just cool that we've got this like family. It's a Warchant family. It's just it's cool. It's not just because before you came over, you had your fans.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some crossover, but now it's cool that there's so many people that like all of the people that do our shows.
Well, it's pretty clear, Corey, to echo Ira's point, it is by far and away the most lauded, vaunted, thorough, most interesting family, since Ira's calling it that, in all of the Florida State football coverage. I mean, it's really not close.
College football coverage.
I was going to say all of college football.
Yeah,
I was wondering about that. Do you think, I don't know the Georgia 247 site or the Georgia On 3 site. I assume it's called Dog Pound or something. Do you think if they have a show or multiple shows a week that there's like, oh, man, I'm such a big fan of Jimmy Smith, the writer for Dog Pound. It's weird. I think it's because we've been doing it so long more than anything. And we've been into people's lives and in people's faces. Jeff for damn near 25 years, more than
25 years, yeah.
Ira's almost 25 years. I'm 15, 16 years doing this. So it's it's really cool, man. And people are really, really positive and always they say some stuff that's really meaningful, like stuff about how they were going through a bad time and just knowing that our shows would be coming up and feeling like they were our friends was always and they're not. Guys, you're not our friends. Don't act like you're our friends. You're not.
On this note, by the way, Corey, and I do think it's a cool opportunity because this was touching, and Ira was saying, and this is like, we joke and tongue-in-cheek and all that stuff a lot of the times, but it is sincere what you just alluded to, Corey, that it's awesome when you meet somebody who's been a reader and a listener and a follower of what we do, because often, first of all, it's humbling as hell and cool, but secondly, you get to learn about the people that you're working for, that you're servicing.
And there's a lot of, and there's often cases there's overlap, like where people who are friends of ours who also listen, or started off as listeners, become friends, or vice versa. This is one of those that is personal friends, but also.
But before you start, Ira, real quick, before you start, you guys all are our friends. I was joking. I got really distracted at finishing my joke because Jeff started pointing like a crazy person. But I was just telling people that they weren't our friends. Don't act like you're our friends. You're just our audience and you pay our set. But that was a joke. Clearly, we all are. Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that now we're going to do something.
Corey's been made paranoid by this.
Yes, the whole thing. I'm paranoid. Yeah, let's go.
Paranoid about everything. Yes.
This is from a friend of ours, Sean, who sent this email to me last night. Ira, well, it's to all of us, but he's emailed to me. I joined the Dead Dads Club today.
Oh no!
Yeah. And then, that the Dead Dads Club, real quick, is one of those things that, like, I've had so many people that love it, even, they get it. Like, people, if you get it,
you gotta get it. You gotta get it. Yeah. We got a sick sense of humor around here.
Sean does too. And he says, I'm devastated, but I wanted to write into Seminole Headlines on behalf of my father and say, shh, eating gators is one word. In case you didn't know, his dad was firm on this.
Yes.
That is all one word. He played golf at FSU in the early 70s.
Nice.
He hated the Gators maybe more than he loved the Noles, which is a phenomenon that our friend Keith Cottrell, I think his spouses as well. My earliest memories were home games against Duke and Maryland. He took my brother and I to UF in '93, and when they listened to the Choke and Doke on the road, they were on the road when Choke and Doke was happening. They stopped to find a payphone to call back home to celebrate that. He loved Bobby. He was thankful for the good Jimbo. He was hopeful for the Norvell. He loved 11. He loved Dennis Nobles, my coach on the track and field team. Sean was a high jumper at FSU for a while.
I know Sean.
For a boy from nowhere, Crystal River, Florida in the 1970s, he loved Tallahassee and FSU and the opportunity it gave him. His kids are Noles. His grandkids will be Noles. Drinking some stag tonight in his honor. Plan on going 16-0 next year and ESPN in his honor. His name is Denny Allen. Everyone called him DA. All the best, Sean. And Sean's brother Jason's also another good friend of ours. And our thoughts are with them. And
yeah, man, that's nice. That's really nice to hear. By the way, I could throw some levity in here. If you say he was from and living in the Crystal River area in the 70s, good chance your dad was selling weed. I gotta let you know.
Or consuming.
Yeah, or consuming. A lot of running weed in that area of Florida.
Well, also, the best.
Might not have known that about him.
Gerald Ensley, may he rest in peace. When
he too was running weed.
He would tell these stories about Doak in the 70s when nobody was going to the games before Bowden.
Yeah.
And he said it was just hippies in the stands smoking weed.
Yeah. Bless their heart.
Good times.
Man, they were finding something to do.
But they're probably one night, they're probably tripping balls and like, wait, is that a dude on a horse? Why do we have a horse in the middle of the field? Is he on fire?
This is amazing call, Keith. This is so cool. We're coming every Saturday. All the games are at night. We got all day to build up to it. And they don't really police it all that much. They're smoking the air already. This is incredible. Yeah, I would just tell you that, if you know anything about that little corridor of Florida, man, it was a good time for a lot of people in that area.
Hey, but he got out. He got out.
If you were near a water source in Florida in the 70s, you were probably
and it, like all the money that was made for those guys, and you'll read, you've seen the documentaries and stuff. It's like, they did 4 months. 4 months for millions of dollars. What a gig. I'm doing my 4 months. I'm just saying.
We don't think Denny Allen was really
We don't. It sounds like I'm really asserting that he was smuggling weed throughout the state.
Cowboys.
It took a weird right turn in the midst of all of this.
Anyway, our thoughts are with you guys. For sure.
We are. And I will tell you, hour number 2 is forthcoming. We do have a hard out at the end of the hour. So, boys, I turn your mics off is how it rolls so that we can't start up another conversation. But I do want to say that headliner questions forthcoming. I will also note that to echo Ira's sentiments, it was awesome to meet so many people again this weekend. And I do, with great sincerity, speak for all of us, we're always flattered. It's awesome. The events are incredible, and people come out and we hear stories like that. It makes my day. Seminole Headlines continues in just a moment.
If you've been waiting for the perfect time to buy your new house, you'll be waiting forever. This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and I have been a mortgage lender for over 20 years. And I can tell you that there is no such thing as perfect timing. So take the first step towards your new home and let me show you what that really looks like. Chances are very high that you'll be very surprised at what I can help you do. When rates go low, prices go high, and that home that you've been eyeballing could be gone. If you're wondering how the drop in interest rates is going to affect your payment, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to show you all of the options available to get you into your new home. And for every single loan that we close for a fellow Nole, I will personally donate $250 per closing to the battle's end. Let's do this together, and let's keep climbing. Call me today at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. Or you can find me online at loansfornoles.com. That's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
A cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roastmaster himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Tampa Bay Lightning visiting the Florida Panthers in Game 2 of their first-round playoff series. The Lightning of another 54 road underdog. Florida minus 185 favorites at home. 5.5 over the total. Kenta Maeda pitching for the Tigers today, $1.36 dog at the Rays minus 162, 8 under at Tropicana Field. Max Fried for the Braves, a $2.58 favorite against Trevor Rogers of Miami at Truist Park, where the total is 9 over. Florida Gators today, a $2.98 home favorite against Stetson. The Hatters a plus 220 underdog in Gainesville. Free betting splits available at vsin.com/split. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Tyler from Wendy's here. The best part of Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is every part. Unlike mornings, which have no good parts. Until now. Because with Wendy's new breakfast Cinnabon Pull-Apart, mornings finally don't completely suck. And now that mornings have warm cinnamon sugar rolled dough and ooey gooey frosting, are they the best part of every day? Probably not, but you get the idea. Get to Wendy's today and get the best part in every bite with the new Cinnabon Pull-Apart.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Cinnabon is a registered trademark of Cinnabon Franchisor SPV LLC.
Something amazing is happening here. AI is increasing workloads on CPUs and GPUs. But this company's laptops are more than keeping pace. That's because CDW worked with them to future-proof their laptop fleet by configuring them with devices enabled with AMD Ryzen AI. Improve performance and free up resources with AMD Ryzen and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/AMD client.
Have you been injured on Interstate 10? I'm Jimmy Fasig of Fasig Brooks Law Offices. We've partnered with RoadProof to access all interstate traffic cameras along I-10 from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Let us help you get the proof you need to stand up for yourself and get fair compensation for your injuries. Call us today and let us secure the proof you need to come back stronger. Fasig Brooks, 850-777-7777, offices Destin, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
What will the Noles do to follow up an unconquered 2023? Warchant.com, the market leader in FSU football and sports coverage, is the place to find out. Join the largest FSU fan community and talk Seminole sports in Warchant's Travel Council and premium recruiting message board forum. Enjoy special access to multimedia elements like Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, and Seminole Headlines, plus exclusive forums with FSU student athletes and a members-only discount to Garnet and Gold. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source. Head to Warchant.com and sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines. Headliner questions coming your way in just a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. And away we go. We will say thanks as we begin the hour to Dr. Birch Orthodontics. I saw Dr. Birch ever so briefly last week. She sends her love to you, Ira, and Corey, and was kind enough to say that to me in person. So just heads up, a simple hello. She was so busy doing all the great work that her and her staff do. She came out very quickly. She's like, hey, I know you're here. Love you. Tell Ira I love him. Tell Corey I love him. Out. And she ran back to do her busy work. So that's how that works. So we saw her.
And then she went back inside and just started screaming at everybody like that.
Get
dictator.
to it.
Yeah.
Back to work.
Yeah, get to it. Yeah. So anyhow, Dr. Birch is the best.
That's not what happens. But you know what does happen, and we can speak to this. I don't think she'd mind.
They fix teeth.
She will also bring a little tough love to your kids. If your kids aren't doing the right things, I think maybe your kids might experience. I know my kids experienced it once or twice, where they weren't doing the bands or they weren't following.
The bands are proving to be the hardest part.
Well, the problem and I've heard her have this speech before, is like, look, your parents are spending a lot of money.
Oh, I had that speech with my son.
Well, she'll have it with them. Look, your parents are spending a lot of money. This is only going to work if you're participating and taking care of your teeth and wearing a retainer and doing all those things. And and
preach, Ira.
She'll do. Maybe we need to have her spend a little more time with.
Well, Clark and I had a stern. He had been doing well. All of a sudden, I asked him on the way to Dr. Birch the other morning,
"How you doing with that retainer?
You've been wearing the bands. You've been wearing the band. No. What are we doing out here? What do you mean no? What do you mean? I left them at my friend's house and I forgot to get them. How long ago? 3 weeks?
His friend lives in Wyoming, apparently.
Down the street. He could have ridden his bike there to pick him up anytime. That's kids. What are you going to do? But I was upset, and I did explain what you just laid the bare there, the process taking longer.
But the great thing is Dr. Birch will work with your kids, and like I said, my kids were not perfect. Corey thinks they're all perfect angels, but they're not. And they'll work with your kids and do great work. And it's birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com is the website. Get a free consultation. They've got payment plans, all the latest techniques. Everything we've said about Birch Orthodontics over the last several years, you can multiply it by 3 and might not reach how great they really are.
By the way, I did laugh. Glenn Rhodes, she needs to have a talk with our wide receivers.
she would.
Yeah, a little tough love.
She is. Yeah. Tough love Cameron only goes so far. Maybe they need
tough love Dr. Birch.
Yeah, tough love Dr. Birch to step in there. Which costs more and which gets done first? The football only facility or FSU exits the ACC? This is from Mark.
What costs more? That's a good question.
We don't know. We're fighting to find out the cost of the
football facilities. Exit. Yeah, the football facility is over $100 million. I don't know
fixed
exactly
cost, we know,
where it's going to end up. To exit the ACC, right on paper is like 130, 140. But then there's the grant of rights, which could be another few $100 million. All things considered, I think it's going to end up with some sort of settlement there. I think they're not going to get out for less than the exit fee. So I think that's going to end up costing more, but that could happen before I think that's going to happen. I'm feeling that may happen before the indoor facility is complete, which will be next summer, next August. I think there's a good chance Florida State will be able to make the move before then.
While we're on the subject, and before I go to the next question, what was your take? You were there yesterday. You could tell it. I can read the words, but the tenor matters. And you were in the room, like what the judge was saying and addressing Florida State's lawyers and saying, hey, you need to go back to square one and come back here, amend this. What was your sense of that?
Well, I mean, I just think he wants to make sure that they're not doing anything that's going to lead to an appeal that's a problematic for anybody. Basically, it's a not silly mistake, but it's a by the book mistake. They called them out that they didn't do something by the book. So the FSU's attorneys now have to go back and do it.
So the judge agreed with what they said.
Yeah, on merits, yeah. There has not been anything I've seen from him in either of the two hearings, Judge Cooper, that makes me think he is not sympathetic to Florida State's cause and does not raise an eyebrow when he hears the numbers $600 million to get out of a contract. He even brought up, this was on his own, completely on his own, talking to the ACC attorneys. He brought up, well, just because you sign a contract, if the terms of the contract are so outrageous,
that's correct,
and or if you were led to believe something based on misinformation that made you sign that contract, then it may not be a valid contract. And just because you sign a contract, you may not be able to. So he's offering that up. So, I mean, that's already in his mind. So I think Florida State's got a good chance in that courtroom. This was just a formality. They have to go back and reprocess the paperwork.
Has he said, Ira, you've been there for 2 full days. Has he at any point said, watch yourself, counselor? To one of the attorneys?
He's got more of a country
okay. So
kind of like a Matlock, where it's a little bit more of he'll let them know when he doesn't like them saying something or he doesn't appreciate something they've done, but he does it in a folksy way.
I would say it all the time. That's all. I'll allow it, but watch yourself, counselor.
In every great court drama, it has been utilized. Yeah. It's ubiquitous, but I think if you're writing a movie that way, you're like, well, here's the part where he would say that you got to put it in there, but it's been in every movie. Yeah, but Corey would be like,
you have to.
You have to put it in there. It's
a great homage to A Few Good Men.
Matt writes, the spring show. I will note that the call for questions on Facebook came in about 5 minutes ago.
It was a little late in the game.
A little late in the game.
Are you reading a Facebook question right now?
I am right now.
Let's do it. Let's see what we got on late notice.
I ran into a gentleman in the parking lot of a restaurant in town where I went to get lunch. And he said, and he was complaining that Corey didn't put up the questions prompt until just then.
Yeah, in the interest of fairness, Corey, I was trying to remain balanced here. I had just asked a Twitter question. I quickly juggled over to Facebook and running the board and doing all what we're doing here. This is what I'm efforting to do on a regular basis. And then I see here that the questions were just posted. He's like, sorry about that. Late notice. You'll have time.
You got some. Let's see.
Yeah. That's how much faith he has in the Facebook list.
I know they can do it.
Matt writes, the spring showcase is pretty hard to watch on television. Are universities required to have a public scrimmage in the spring, or can they just choose to forego the spectacle for a regular practice or scrimmage? Alternatively, could teams schedule scrimmages against other schools instead? I've heard that posited many times. I know the risk of injury probably takes the second option off the table, but at least it would be entertaining. Yeah, look, guys, I said this going in. I've said it for years, and people get mad because they think I'm like peeing on their Fruit Loops. The spring game, dating all the way back to the 90s when I would go to them, and the spring showcase as it's known now, has always pretty much sucked. Basically, after Dan Kendra blew out his knee when they were going live, when that stopped, when the quarterback stopped going live, and you never really could tell what was a sack and what wasn't a sack, and a lot of other things were adjusted, you just weren't going to see anything that's really all that interesting. And I don't know that there's another way to do it.
It is weird how it kind of there were so many complaints about like the TV angles and what they showed, and it's just
some of that might have been the stadium situation.
Yeah, no, it definitely was.
Camera wells weren't operational.
Yeah, so not a lot of people left that day thrilled about the whole experience. But I would say this: I mean, it's either that or nothing. Yeah, because they're not gonna scrimmage another team. I get the idea behind that, and I know it's been talked about on occasion. But man, you can't have another team hitting your players in the spring.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't do that.
I agree with you. I don't think there's really anything you can do. I don't think the coaches would like to be there. Maybe they would like
that the NFL does it.
Yeah, they do their
the cross practices.
They usually end in fights.
Why? I don't understand why the NFL does it. Those are billion-dollar teams with
Yeah.
What if you get some crazy person that gets a blindside hit on Patrick Mahomes? Now, he'll be killed by the other Chiefs on the field, but he just knocked Mahomes out for a season.
Well, you think they might actually
You're
kill
costing
him?
me a lot of bonus money in the postseason plus a championship trophy ring.
I would if you had a rookie defensive end come off the edge and dive at his knees in the middle of a practice that plays for the Titans, he would go to the hospital. Like, there's no doubt that he would go to the hospital. I don't know if they would kill him, because I think the natural herd of things, they would try to break it up. But you're going to have 5 offensive linemen just go and buck wild on them.
Well, and the problem is anytime any hit happened that, even if it wasn't intentional, it would be felt. People would think it's intentional. Like even with baseball, how many times the guys think they're getting thrown at when they're not getting thrown at?
Yeah, Briley brings up the point that there are a lot of benefits to it, but in terms of the entertainment value while you're watching, I would say not much. But yeah, all the other stuff, the event you were talking about last hour where we got to meet people and all these people come to town to see people they love and, support the program that they love. And yeah, that's all great thing. That's what I try to look at it as every year when we go into this thing. I'm like, remember a couple of years ago, they're out here running 2-point conversions to start the thing in a gale force win. And like, he's throwing pick after pick after pick because they know what's coming. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever.
I wonder if most of the complaints come from people our age that remember when spring games were different, because
when they were real games.
If you're 25 or 28 or 30,
this is what you expect.
Right.
This is what you expect. This is what you've always known. And I will say this: we are again very, very lucky. The spring game matters not to it. It matters nothing to us because we get to see the practices. Nobody else. All the Florida State fans, they had never seen Jalen Lucas or Jalen Brown or Malik Benson, so they wanted to see those people before Dublin.
And they did get to see that. So I think it's worth something. And, it's obviously worth something for the coaching staff.
Butch writes, hello, boys. Our baseball team is fun to watch, except for away games. Why is it this bullpen – well, I'm going to interrupt right off the bat. They have been really, really, really unlucky. Now, hear me out on this. This nonsense with always having to play double headers and moving games
our Thursdays
and all that.
Not
that's
a normal week.
They're getting screwed because they're injury riddled, and then they've got to throw the good bullpen arms as starters. Yeah. And then, it's just you extrapolate all this out, you realize they're up against it. I actually came away from the Wake series feeling very good about what just transpired. The kid that pitched for Wake in game 1 is a world-class ace. He's up there with as good of pitchers there are in the country, and Florida State had great at-bats off of him, went yard right off the bat, did a lot of good things. I think, obviously you'd like to be able to close out some of these games, but playing at the back end of a doubleheader at midnight and you've used up every arm you have that's any good, I don't know what you can really expect at this point. It is going to be imperative that they get these kids back that he keeps saying are coming back. I mean, that's what I find interesting. If Leiter wasn't going to come back this year, there's no way he would repeatedly say, we expect to get him back.
Everything we hear that he is going to be back, and Ben Barrett.
I don't know about Whitaker.
And then if you don't play 3 games in 24 hours,
correct,
you have a chance.
Well, and also it just moves Armstrong. It does all this other stuff. I mean, they're getting screwed, and yet they're competing at a really high level on the road against elite teams. So I'm not as discouraged by the results of those games at all. I'm not expecting true freshmen to come into that lineup and then, get a little rattled and somehow regain composure. It's hard to expect that.
Yeah, and you had guys pitching, especially that second game, that just won't be pitching in big moments the rest of the season, but they had no other options. They had to pitch somebody. And if you bring a Leiter back and a Barrett back, well, Leiter's eating up 15 of those outs in a weekend or 18 of those outs in a weekend. You don't have to go piece it together. But yeah, I agree with Jeff. I was actually the Clemson series, same thing. Like, I was like, okay, well, that offense plays, that defense plays, that bullpen won't be that bad. Now it's got to be able. Some of those guys have to be better away from home, clearly, because if they want to go win something. Yeah.
In particular from the right side.
And again, once you get into the postseason, you're not going to need quite as many arms. You're going to be it's a shorter series. You're not, and it's a little more spread out. So I think this team has a lot of things that can really set up to have a nice run in the postseason.
On the upside, look what you've seen now out of Carson Dorsey.
Right.
Yeah.
That dude throwing 90-plus pitches now. I mean, they've extended him out. You've really found a way to, I think, solidify upwards of 4 or 5 guys that you completely trust. Now infuse the other guys back into the rotation, and you've got something there. I'm not nearly as concerned, and they do hit. They do hit.
Yeah.
Trailer
and
slip.
And you know what? They tell you about it when they hit.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
They do.
But
They
Corey,
sure
to
do.
your point, and we've stressed this because I like pointing out to people that we understand we're just as insufferable as the team we're facing, but
Right.
the team we're facing is also insufferable.
Yeah, I get it.
It's just a league full of kids that want to tell you about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is
there's a
there?
lot
You
of-
think there's a college baseball team in the country that when you hit a home run, they don't all come out of the dugout so they can dunk their helmet or jump up and down? Like it's
No, they all do
this
something.
is. I remember Jeff like 10 years ago before we evolved, making fun of all the stuff that softball players did and all the cheering.
I still make fun of it to some extent.
It's not anything like that craziness. It's out of control. I watch highlights from all these SEC baseball games too. Arkansas does the same thing. They
of course
they jump up. The whole team jumps up with him, and he lands. It's like it's crazy what it's become. But God bless him.
That's the least of my concerns is the celebratory leap in the after a home run. It's lining a single and then pointing at the pitcher and talking to him the whole way you're going to first. I'm like, sweet
Doing the
Jesus.
guns to him.
What are we doing out here? This is nuts. Yeah, that strikes me as weird. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Why do our guys keep getting hurt? I know practice is tough. It's football, but sweet heavens.
Who can we blame?
Look, man, I'm going to tell you that on the one hand, and I hear a lot of folks, or I read a lot of folks on the message boards and on Twitter, and then I hear it out in public. We all seem to like Coach Storms doing a great job. Bama Tables come to Tallahassee. Kids are bigger, stronger, faster. At the same time, you turn right around and say, well, are we doing something wrong with the way that we lift and eat and all that? No, man, football's brutal.
Yeah, exactly. Malik Benson's injury is a complete fluke. A DB gets
rolled up
thrown
on
and
him,
torn, and falls into his leg. And now and again, I think it sounds like it's good news with him. He's going to be okay. But it's football. Yeah, I mean, there's
sometimes I go through stretches where you're just
Terrence
really
Ferguson's
unlucky.
injury during the game was he just got rolled.
Here,
up
and
on.
that's going to be okay too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I think what people don't like, you're obviously everybody's so invested in Florida State, and so when you're so invested in Florida State, and you don't pay attention to other colleges. You don't realize how much of this goes on everywhere. But I can tell you this, as somebody that graduated from the University of Georgia, and I promise you, I was not rooting for that team in the Orange Bowl, but
You should have.
Ladd McConkey.
Smart play.
Ladd McConkey was injured against Alabama in the in the SEC championship game. Like he could barely play. His ankle had been messed up kind of all year. Brock Bowers was injured. He played, but he was like Keon Coleman. Like my point being, if they had been fully healthy, Ladd McConkey might be a dang first-round pick. Brock Bowers is a first-round pick.
We talked about the 2013 team got lucky with injuries.
Yeah, they had
that's the
virtually
normal
no
thing.
injuries. If you get all the way to the end, you're usually incredibly deep. Admittedly, this is the other part that I like to point out. Florida State has become a really good team faster than we probably thought they were going to be. Right. So the fact that you have these high expectations leads to the disappointment with injury. So you've gone now from being, a team that won 5 games to 10 games to 13 games, and we think they're going to win the national championship. And you're like, oh, man, we can't win the national championship if this guy keeps getting hurt.
Charlie in the chat says we are one Max Williams bat flip away from Malice at the Palace.
That is awesome.
Well, that seems to be
Max Williams.
Truth.
It's an art form. It's
Dude, Max Williams will tell you about it.
Yeah.
But what I thought in the moment that perhaps Max Williams was humbled in a way he never thought possible, because I've not seen somebody look less athletic in my life than trying to catch a fly ball in center field.
I tried to defend him in our chat with Corey
Falling
Naslon.
into the damn. It was
a line drive at
embarrassing.
you. A line drive
Those
at
are hard.
you.
Those are hard. Yeah.
Well, it can cause problems, but he tracked it, Ira. He tracked it from the moment it came off the bat, so I'm not buying it. My man fell over his own 2 feet and then smashed his face against the wall like a moron.
Wow.
It was embarrassing.
Hey, in his defense, though, that it is a slight incline because, of course, why wouldn't it be at Wake or Clemson? The warning track is a slight incline.
We need to ban all of that.
Well, why doesn't Link build one? Come on, Link.
Yeah, Link
You
just
gotta
making a
fix the
90-degree hill.
Yeah, man, and have it like a turn, like an amusement ride.
Guys,
it could be a moat.
And I'm with you, and we should try to defend our guys. And I got no problem with Max Williams. He's been a nice player for us this year, and he's going to continue to be a great player. But I'm just telling you, I'm not blaming the incline. I'm not blaming the lights.
Right
you guys can try all you want.
Right
Watching that, I thought, my God, sir.
Man,
how are you as good as you are? That is humiliating.
The next home run he hits, he's going to be staring you down in the crowd. He's going to look at you the whole time.
He will. He'll flip the bat up at me. point up to the stands.
He's going to draw
Cameron.
He's going to use his bat to draw JCS in the dirt before he starts his trot.
He can be mad. Hopefully it's motivational. Catch the damn ball. It cost us dearly. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV will continue in a moment. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
If you think you can't afford a new hot tub, think again. The prices at Pinch a Penny will have you pinching yourself in the arm just to make sure you're not dreaming. Ow! Visit Pinch a Penny on Greer Street off Capitol Circle Northeast today. There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
It's happening daily. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream.
Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I'll never.
Rolling on. That was weird. We get a liner at the same time that something else is playing, but that ain't on me, guys.
There went the no-hitter. There went the
No, I got the no-hitter intact. No-hitter intact. That was a foul ball left of the line. Clearly foul. But something, for whatever reason, is programmed to run in there. I didn't touch it. It's just running. But you see how quick I was? I was like, this is not sync. This is not working. I'm going to make sure I do the right thing. Pow!
Impressive.
We got it. Here we go. Let's get to some more questions here. Good day, gents. Spring football games always take me back to the spring of '92. I went to the spring game that year, firmly in the Kenny Felder for quarterback camp. But after watching that magician Charlie Ward,
by the way, jury's still out on that one.
Yeah,
Felder versus Ward.
I left in Team Charlie. Did anyone have a performance in Saturday's showcase change your mind about them or a position group?
I thought, one position, and it didn't really change my mind, but kind of accentuated a little bit what I've been feeling. I really like Justin Cryer at linebacker. I think he can play. I'm trying to think again, because we just see so much, it's hard to say anything was different.
Yeah, Marvin was good.
Marvin's been all spring to me. He's just been like way better.
But it was
than
cool
I
to
expected.
see that in that setting. Yeah, I thought he was very good too. I think, by the way, I continue to say this. I'll just name a player that continues to soar up my board of players that I think have a chance to be really good. Otto at tackle is really good. He's a good player. I think he's technically sound. He held his own against Marvin when he had opportunities. I think he's going to be a good player for them. So there's a younger player that continues to get better on the offensive line for people who want to hear that.
Corey, anybody?
Nope.
All right.
That's why, hey, you get what you pay for, folks.
No, the reality is, again, it's just hard for us because we do see him all the time.
Moises writes, the decision to not move on from Leonard after last season looks like it could really come back to hurt us. Not because of how bad next season is starting to look in terms of wins and losses, but it doesn't seem like players want to be. This is a tough deal. I mean, guys, we can't, we're not trying to duck anything. It's a tough situation right now. What do you make, Ira? You usually have a more composed answer to these kinds of questions. No, he doesn't have it, guys. He does not have it. I'm just
it's all fine. Fine. They're gonna have 8 or 9 players. Who knows where they'll be from? Yeah, man, it's bad. The last 3 guys that went in the portal to me are very troubling. Jalen Worley, Bobby Miller, and Cam Corhan, because those are 3 guys that I think are program guys. Like
those were ham guys.
Yeah, and guys like you want to have in your program, and you've gone through tough times with them to have the benefits of them when they get to be juniors and seniors, and now you're not going to have that because they went in the portal, and it's not like, we've heard talk about Baba being pursued by some big schools, but Cam Corhan went to Pitt. It's not like he went to some, it's like he gets snatched up by Duke.
Yeah.
So
Jalen Worley ain't going to Kentucky either.
So to me, I think that speaks to those guys are not happy here. They don't like the way the program's going. And you do have a coach going into his last year. Having said all that, nothing's changed from the fact that we don't think this was going to be a good year for FSU to try to hire a new basketball coach because
they're stuck.
Yeah, you don't have you still owe Leonard Hamilton a year on his contract. You don't know what conference you're going to be in officially next year, so it's hard to hire a coach. NIL is still something that has to be kind of figured. So it just was a bad time. It's disappointing that the staff hasn't been able to keep that nucleus together. Because I thought if you had that nucleus together, you can go get 3 or 4 or 5 portal guys and have a decent team. I think it's going to be really hard to have a decent team when you're bringing in 10 new players.
Hey, man, at this point, you just want a team.
Well, they'll have a team.
I mean, will they? Like, is it going to be like Hoosiers, where he's like, my 4 on the court, my 4 out there?
It's not good. They're not getting transfers from top 25 programs, but there are a lot of schools out there that players.
I don't think we need to continue this conversation. We've said it. We've summarized it. We've got it. I think we know
they will have a team.
They will have a team. Okay.
It won't be much to look at. And then you got to hope the following year we start fresh and we have a better understanding of what NIL money there is, where you're playing. Stability helps recruit players for sure.
Spectator asked if Watkins is still on the roster. Jameer Watkins has not announced anything either way. There was a point where I heard some people saying he may stick around. There's other people have said that he's not, so we'll see. But I wouldn't put money on him staying.
Gator Kirk wanted to point out, Corey, that you had failed to put up the Facebook questions in time, so he's asking on Twitter now. He's become a convert.
But let Gator Kirk understand that they were up. Really? I did sneak it in under the wire now.
Join the family, Gator Kirk. It's nice over here on Warchant Twitter. Seminole Headlines questions.
Garrett wants to know our favorite in-person Jimbo Fisher memory. Well, there's a lot of funny ones.
I was gonna say favorite.
You got it. I mean, there's plenty of funny ones.
I'm trying to take the high road and find favorite, like a good thing.
I've got a ton of them.
Oh yeah, you definitely do.
I've got a ton of them.
But share, man. Like
but a lot of them I can't share.
Well, no, you can. No, but he was
good
really
one.
nice to you when you're someone. When Clark was sick.
So if you want to get serious,
well, I mean, why not? I mean, I feel like
yeah,
we dog the guy all the time.
No, and I've stated this publicly. My youngest son at one time got very sick and had to be rushed to Shands, and that was a dicey time. Incredibly difficult, and like any parent, I was devastated and lost and scared. And Jimbo called me more than once while I was at the hospital with him, and I've always remained appreciative of that and have spoken to him about it several times privately. But he did, and he followed up a few days after we were coming home from the hospital, and I've always appreciated that. So that's a good one. That's a real good one.
Corey, you had the sitting down with him going over the final drive, the game winner. That was probably, is that up there?
Yeah, that was actually, I'm glad you reminded me of that. Yeah, that was really cool. It was going over the final drive against Auburn from the coach's film. He talked with me for 30 minutes about each. Well, it wasn't 30 minutes about each play, but the whole 30 minutes. But yeah, I always had pretty decent interactions with Jimbo. The one I really like is the fact that he would never joke with me like kind of how I wanted to. Remember after the Pitt game, where I think Jameis was 26 of 28 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And my first question to him was, what happened on the 2 incompletions? And instead of like laughing with it, he's like, well, hey, one of them should have been it. Like he just goes straight to a real football answer.
Yeah.
And then another one where like something happened where Burt Reed was running a drag route and he was going to be wide open and he ran into the official. And Jimbo was complaining about the call. And I said, yeah, and he also called Burt Reed for targeting or defenseless play or something like that. And Brian Landman started dying laughing. Jimbo just keeps going on with it. It's like,
I didn't hear a word you said.
I didn't hear that I was trying to make a joke.
I've got one that I can't share completely, but I think people would like. It is, do you remember when Lou Holtz said something disparaging? He was on with Mark May about Florida State's program. That was the worst show ever.
It was
and Reese Davis is in a damn robe, a judge's robe, and all that.
Does Jimbo have a good Holtz? Is that what you're going to tell us?
No, so when I saw the segment, I was kind of like, what is this old man blather? I mean, he made no sense, as he often did. And he said something really stupid. And so that Sunday night, this was on a Saturday. That Sunday, I'm supposed to interview Jimbo. I'm waiting for him to come on, and we're off the record. And I said, so what'd you think about what Holtz said? And he goes, I haven't heard it. Somebody said something. What did he say specifically? And so I repeated it to him.
Did you do a Holtz?
I did a little bit of a Holtz, not a great Holtz, but I did a little bit of a Holtz. He chuckled, and then it was quiet, and he said something I can't repeat about Holtz, which was fantastic. And I remember thinking, awesome. No matter what happens from here, I've got that moment where he had a real.
Well, and people can contextualize that a little bit. Remember, he went on national airwaves. It called a press conference to rip Nick Saban publicly. So Lord knows what he was saying about Lou Holtz privately.
My favorite memory is always going to be, and it's one of my favorite stories in my life, is when they won the ACC, and I didn't go to the press conference because I was interviewing players in the locker room or in the hallway. And he asked Corey, where's your buddy?
Yeah.
Is he mad we won?
Yeah, is he mad we won was a great line.
I'm interviewing players in the hallway, and I'm getting texts because that was I guess it was live stream.
I saw
the press conference, and people are texting me like, dude, Jimbo's calling you out.
And I legitimately laughed. I thought it was
you
really
funny. You did. I heard the audio. I'm like, Corey didn't like, hey, man.
I heard Jimbo say it. I'm in the back of the room, and I saw Corey laugh.
Some would say Corey could have said, actually, he's doing work. He's outside interviewing players. But no, he just laughed. Good one, Jimbo. That's a good. You got him there.
Oh, my God. That's funny. Chris writes, I love you guys, and I trust you. But it's 2 fingers to my eyes and 2 fingers to yours with all this hype about DJ and this 24 offense. He didn't look good at Clemson and just seemed average at Oregon State. These wide receivers are fast, but haven't done anything. Am I off base here, guys? He's nervous. He's nervous, guys. He's panicking a little bit. Doesn't think the offense is going to be good.
That's better than one of our posters on the Tribal Council who, I went into a thread after Corey's column, and I just said, look, man, DJ, I think, has looked better these last couple of weeks than he did on Saturday. And this guy's like, yeah, well, I don't think you know what you're seeing at practice. I was like, all right, well, that's cool.
Well, I had somebody say
the money, though.
I had somebody say that about me today on the site. Yeah.
So anyway, not
allowed to be wrong, Ira.
Here's the thing.
Ever.
Here's what I would say to you about DJ. If you are going to go into these next 4 months just assuming he's going to suck, I think you're going to be happily surprised. I don't think he's going to suck. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good college quarterback.
Let's just say
I don't know
what he is, right?
I don't mean that negatively. I think he's going to be better than we've seen him in the past just because in this month I saw him get a whole lot better.
Yeah.
From week 1 to week 4, week 3 and week 4, he played really well at practice. So if that carries over the next 4 months, I think he's going to be really good. So, but I can't, there's no way we can get you to believe that if you just remember DJ not playing great at Clemson and then what you saw on Saturday. So I'm not going to try to convince you, but I think you'll be surprised.
Also, if we're going to say what DJ, let's just say, I agree with you, Ira. I think he'll play better statistically than he's played at any point in his career. He's in it's yet another year under his belt in college football. I think he's got a really good offensive mind coaching him. And so listen, Mike Norvell will get a lot out of him and he's got tools. He's never been a high accuracy guy. His whole thing, and he's going to miss some throws, and he missed some throws on Saturday.
He didn't miss a lot of throws, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, so he misses some throws. Right. He's going to spike one when a guy's open, and you're going to go, damn, man, I need you to make that throw.
The throw to Ja'Kai was a bad throw.
Yeah, but here's the deal. He's also going to hit on some throws where he throws it 66 yards in the air and hits a guy in stride for a touchdown. And so if at the end of the day, he just looks like he has in his whole career, let's just say slightly above that, and he goes, I don't know, 20 of 30 for 264, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick or something like that, are we going to be happy with that, especially if they're able to run the ball? I think so. I think that would be fine. That's all you really need him to be.
And he's going to be better than anything else you would have had if you didn't go get him.
Well, right, man. He's certainly better than Brock Glenn or Croman Hawk or Rodemaker. Yeah. Good grief. Rodemaker would have been. And I think that's the key is, like, I don't understand why people wouldn't. I think we have a pretty good track record.
They passed over 15 great quarterbacks and said DJ is the guy we're going to have.
But also, I don't think we don't have a track record of lying to people. Like, when we see somebody that's good at practice, we tell you. When we say that somebody's struggling, we tell you. All spring, I've told you I haven't been enamored with the wide receivers. They didn't turn out to be, this spring at least, what I was hoping they would be. Well,
I was hoping for better too. Fair.
Yeah, and then you saw the spring game. We weren't lying. DJ played better for the first week and a half, and I'm on record. I'll wake up Warchant. There wasn't really much delineation between him and Brock Glenn. I thought they seemed like they both basically looked the same to me. DJ might have been a slight better, but those last 2 weeks, even before Brock got hurt, DJ looked better, much better. Now, he didn't play well on Saturday, but that doesn't mean we're lying to you about how good he played or how efficient he was. But at the same time, he ain't Jordan Travis. He's also not Tate Rodemaker or A.J. Duffy. So you got somewhere in the middle there. He's closer to Jordan Travis than he is to Tate Rodemaker.
But it is spring showcase for a guy that's been here for a few weeks. Right. What the hell are you expect him to be? Exactly. I mean, I'm not overly concerned. Spring is a time for a guy to learn the offense, to figure out as they install things, what he's good at, what he's not, what he likes, what he doesn't. Mike's learning him just like he's learning Mike.
And we touched on this earlier. I tweeted a couple of videos yesterday from plays where, like, it's obvious the defense knows what's coming before the play. Well, that's happening a lot. It's not going to happen in games.
It happens all the time. That's why I get disgusted. After a while, I stop going. I know what's happening. I'm like, I've seen what I need to see these first few weeks. I'm done. I know there's nothing more for me to see here. Now, if I had to write a story like you guys do.
Must be nice, Corey, right?
It is. But if you guys had – listen, I get it. I get it. Yeah, you should. But it's nice. Like, once I've seen it, I know what it is. Once the defense starts jumping everything because they know exactly what's being called, I'm like, okay, well, I can't learn anything out here now because this is a farce. And some of what you see on Saturday is that, right? I mean, watch guys again when you go back and watch that game. And I've watched it twice. I mean, there are guys cheating all over the place where if you were doing that on film against a team you didn't know, your coach would rip your ass for some of the stuff.
And one more thing real quick. So DJ finished by our stats. What was he? 14 of 29 for 175. Well, look. There's a pass to Portier in the middle of the game where the defense clearly didn't know it was coming. They didn't jump anything, and that's probably going to be a 70-yard touchdown, at least a 30-yard gain. Maybe he gets tackled. He just drops the ball. And then Williamson, I guess it's a PBU, but you want your D1 receiver to go make that play at the goal line. That's a touchdown.
That's a goal line. Yeah.
That's a good throw. That's a good throw. He put it where he needed to be for his big receiver that's been in college for 4 years to go make that play. Well, if you add those 2 plays up, well, now he's 16 of 29 for, let's say, 250 and 2 touchdowns. 16 of 29, 250, 2 touchdowns. No picks, but almost one. That, I think, is going to be the DJ experience. It's going to be numbers like that. A few big plays, some throws to Ja'Kai where you're like, what in the world was that, man? Make a throw. He's right there. But overall, he's a pretty good college quarterback that maybe will be better than he's ever been, but he's not an incredible quarterback. Or he wouldn't
marry it with a good defense. Marry it with a good defense and a good run game, and you're set. I mean, that's
and another big time receiver.
Well,
give my man some help.
We've discussed that.
And a tight end. And a fullback.
And maybe a right tackle. Maybe a right
tackle too wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, let's get a tackle in here, guys. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Maybe a fullback.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
A crash scene quickly transformed into a homicide investigation early Monday morning in Madison County. Deputies were notified of a vehicle crash thanks to an iPhone crash alert. When they arrived on scene along Southwest Old St. Augustine Road, they noticed a vehicle had crashed into the side of a carport. After life-saving attempts, the driver of the vehicle was pronounced deceased at the scene. Deputies soon discovered the driver had suffered a fatal gunshot wound, triggering a homicide investigation. Investigators say they have identified a possible suspect. It's believed to be an isolated event, and there is no further threat to the community. A Tallahassee woman, 33-year-old Jill President, is behind bars after being accused of committing election petition fraud. President submitted more than 1,100 invalid petitions to the Leon County Supervisor of Elections office. Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigators confirmed she used the identities of at least 11 deceased people on the forms. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 78. Winds out of the southeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows dip down to about 52. Clear skies tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 82. Dry Thursday and Friday under mainly sunny skies with highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 76.
I'm Greg Tisch here to share one of my favorite TCC stories. In the summer of 1966, Eugene Lamb wanted to stay in shape before leaving to play college basketball in Louisiana. So he jogged to Tallahassee from his home in Midway and helped lay the bricks for the first building on what's now the TCC campus on Appleyard Drive. Today, he is a longtime member of the TCC District Board of Trustees. It's no exaggeration when we say Trustee Lamb helped build TCC into what it is today.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services has been Tallahassee's preferred residential electrician for over 30 years. Hi, this is Rowdy Lawson, and we've earned our reputation because we care about our customers, about quality, and about providing great service. We stand by every job we do and consider it a privilege to work on a family project like a new house, a custom addition, or a green renovation. For all your residential or service projects, call the good guys, Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services, 562-4111.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
We got an awesome question here, boys. This is good. This made me laugh. I was reading through it during the break. So this is Twitter.
Of course. I mean, what were the odds?
Corey,
we got a great question in the 37 minutes it was open.
This is so good. Scott D writes, fellas, given all the tools and supplies you would need, how long would it take the three of you to rebuild the missing section of Doak?
Oh my God.
And then he goes, you don't get any help, just the three of you with all.
Now, do bulldozers count?
We have everything we need. Anything that you would need to rebuild that section, the three of us have. Guys, we're going to be dead before that section's rebuilt. I can promise you that.
I can't even fathom a scenario where we start. Where we're like, we come up with an idea.
Would they give us the plans? Like,
No.
are we getting the architecture
No,
plan?
Sure,
else.
we
We
can
get
have
no-
all the plans. It makes zero difference. I know the three of us. We've got no chance to rebuild. I'm not even sure a bench would get rebuilt. I'm not sure a singular bench would be in place. They'd come back in 12 years and go, guys, what are you doing?
The dirt is still there. You didn't even move a pipe.
Corey and I
The chain
literally-
link fence is up. I think
the
I think we
architectural
could.
knowledge. Well, I was going to say the architectural knowledge between the two of us. Literally, when we were underneath the stadium after we shot the wrap after the game,
Yes.
he and I were just standing there looking at the press box in wonder how it was still standing.
Yeah.
Like, do we know? Corey's like, Corey
Are there
goes,
beams?
Corey goes,
What is happening?
Corey goes, did they test it out? Like with 30 people up there, is it still
Yeah,
going
they
to be
test
okay?
out the weight limit. Maybe not with people, but with I don't know, animals. Is that what they do with animal testing now? Is to
It's
test
my-
the structure.
This is one of my favorite questions ever because it really exposes us as the dummies we
Oh,
are
my
when it comes to anything other
You
than
know what I
sports.
think we do honestly is there's
Yeah.
no way we would even approach like, oh, what do we got to do here to get these columns up to get
Well,
this
what- now,
no
like,
chance.
actually, what's
But
more
we
interesting?
could turn it into something cool.
We probably would just effing around. We'd have no choice.
We
We'd
would
be
get
like, hey,
the
let's
dirt out of there. We'd make it
let's
like
build a pyramid.
putting green with a water like a mural. Though that brick could be a mural of the three of us or something.
That
we
would
would
be
do something with
hilarious.
the space, but it would not be rebuilt where people get their.
Yeah,
seats
I
back.
recently had a guy redo my the decks on either side of my house. And my neighbor is a very handy guy. And he's like, "What? Who you got doing the decks? Why didn't you do it?" I said, "Are you kidding me? Have you lost your mind?"
I hired a guy to switch out our ceiling fan.
Of course you did.
And the whole time I'm sitting there like, man, I feel awful. Why can't I put up a ceiling fan?
Hey, I can
And then
change a
watched-
tire.
Then I watched him do it, and I was like, yeah, there's no way in hell I can
No
ever do
chance.
that.
Yeah, I can change a tire.
I can change the tire.
That's the end of it.
Yeah, I can change
That's
a
it.
tire and I can change my oil. Yeah, there it is. That's exactly what it would look like.
2032.
Well, the first week would just be us doing snow angels in the dirt.
How many hours a day do we have to be out there? We're like, what?
FSU fans are coming to games in 2043. They're like,
Yeah.
are those guys ever gonna? I don't know.
Yeah.
The
We could sod
satellite
that dirt. I think we could sod that dirt too. I think the three of us could sod it up.
The satellite shots are you, me, and him just standing in a corner over here to the right, talking every day. They're like, there they are again. They're not doing a thing.
Hands on our hips.
There's a couple of pictures of us with our hands to the sky,
Guys,
like we're just looking at each other, like we don't know.
I think we could do something with some cement and some bricks.
Yeah.
I feel like
we would.
Oh, I love that
no
question.
chance.
Okay, Panama Noel wants to know, how do we feel about having a black Jerry on the basketball team?
Oh, that's
All
right.
right, that's
Jerry
right.
Deng, a transfer from Hampton. How about that? We should get an NIL deal with him.
He had what did he average at Hampton?
I think like 10-5, maybe 10-4. 10
all right.
Welcome in, Black Jerry. He doesn't know the joke, so he may be offended, but it's not. It's an
probably not how we
endearing
want
thing.
to. It's not how we want to start.
Come on
the
in,
Just
Black
saying,
Jerry.
The other two here at Headlines, you're just saying, welcome, Jerry. Welcome in, Jerry. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the city.
I was crying from the welcome in, Black Jerry, and he's gonna go, what the? Like, you don't understand. We love you. This is great.
We love you. We love Jerry Judy.
Yeah,
Jerry
yeah,
Rice. Jerry
Jerry
Johnson.
Rice. Yeah. Forget
And
about
that's it.
That would be weird because he doesn't get it. If I just walked in the first day, we get to interview them. Black Jerry, Jeff Cameron, how are you, buddy?
I can't tell you how excited we were when we found out we got a Black Jerry.
Oh my goodness. Joe writes, "Hey boys, after the spring game, the receiver core looks like the spot of team need." Yeah, here you go. He does want to know. He does love the show, says Joe. He just wants to know, do we think that there's a guy in that group that has a chance to emerge? Yeah, there's plenty of room.
Yeah.
Plenty. I mean, Hakeem's not going to.
Those guys are not devoid of talent. We just don't know how ready they're going to be this fall. And you know, Corey mentioned Luane McCoy had looked really good before he kind of was unavailable.
Yeah, I didn't think he got a minor injury and needed to miss some time, and so you didn't have him the rest of spring, and that's where you go. Sean writes, and this is old school
elite
headliner. So this weekend series against Duke just became very big if we're trying to secure a top 8 national seed. Yeah, I feel like this team needs some home games here soon at some point. Goodness gracious, I know there's one tonight, but doesn't do anything for your RPI. And then the other thing they got to have, and we talked about it earlier, they just got to get some more length to this rotation in this pitching staff because all these injuries to your guys that usually eat a ton of innings.
Do they care? Does RPI care? So they've got 4 losses to like top 10 RPI teams. With
It does
Clemson
matter.
and
It's
Wake.
good for us. Yeah.
No, but
that's
I mean,
fine.
like that they've lost 4 of those games by 1 run. 3 are like walk-offs. Like, does that come into play at all that you weren't getting raced, but you were leading all those games?
I don't know the exact formula that all of these outlets use. If you're using like Boyd's World, I mean, I don't know if they count specifically like, oh, you lost by 1 as opposed to 9. It would seem reasonable that you would. I mean, beating Florida 19-4 is a bad look for Florida. Had they lost 4-3 and 10, maybe not so much.
Is that really the same? Yeah. Does that count the same?
So, by the way, according to Boyd's World, the pseudo RPIs right now are A&M being number 1 and Arkansas being number 2, which, oh, by the way, watching those two teams, they're very, very good. Yes. Then it's Kentucky and Clemson, followed by Tennessee and us. So, Florida State's still top 6 in that RPI. Duke is let me find. Duke is 21st.
Oh, all right.
Duke's
You need to win one or two of those.
You need to win a couple of these, maybe.
Yeah. It would be nice. But look. By the way, this is for as much as we rag the ACC, and understandably so. I will tell you. Let's see. We got, what do you have? That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, like 7 teams in the top 21 out of the ACC.
One of the attorneys during the hearing yesterday brought up the fact that how good the ACC is and all these other. It was like the Jim Phillips talking points.
Oh, right.
The ACC, Florida State's trying to tell you they can't compete in nationally, but the ACC has won 17 national championships and not in a sport that
diving and tennis and.
In the remaining 2 minutes, boys, I'm not going to ask any more questions because I have 2 that are very similar, and a third was starting to sound like it. So I'm just bringing them all together. We came away from spring thinking what?
It's a good, talented team. I mean, it's a good, strong, talented team.
Not as confident as last year at this time, though, with good reason, right?
Right. There's just so many more proven commodities.
Yeah.
I will say this. And Corey touched on this before with Marvin Jones Jr. I did not know what to expect from him. I knew he'd be a talented kid. I liked everything I saw from him, the way he learns, how hard he practices, how hard he played in that game, and how pissed off he was when he didn't get the interception. Like, I didn't notice it in the game. Like,
you went back and saw it.
But when you watch the replay, he's devastated.
And he was pissed off at you after the game. He took umbrage with one of your questions. I like that little what for in him, too.
He does, yeah. So I'm excited about that because I didn't know, you don't know how passionate is he. And I mean,
I think the question marks because he's mercurial. He's kind of a weird cat, is the way he was described, And so when he came over, you didn't know what to expect, but he's very competitive, passionate. He's also physically gifted.
Yeah, the secondary, I think, is got a chance to be elite. I think the defensive line's got a chance to be very good. Linebackers, I think, are okay, fine. The offensive line still maybe needs a little bit of work. Receivers need to get better. Running game is going to be good. Overall, I think I didn't think this was going to be a 11-1 or 12-0 team necessarily, and I still don't. But I don't think it's a 7-5 or 8-4 team.
I think they're a playoff contender. They're a playoff contender.
Sure. I think they can win the conference, and I think they can be a playoff team.
I agree.
And I think they're going to add to this roster probably 2 or 3 names that'll help significantly shift your expectation in those segment groups, and then we'll see what happens in the fall. They'll look a lot better in the fall now that they've gone through the spring. So I feel like they'll take a step forward there. Also, that secondary is going to be elite, is my opinion.
Yes,
I think it's going to be elite. You agree with elite, Corey?
Yeah. I'd like maybe
safety
the nickel. I don't know who the second nickel is. Earl Little, as you guys saw on Saturday, was in a green jersey, but I think he's going to be good. Yep. I think Greedy Vance was a guy I don't know. I know he went to USC, but that's a guy that would have played a lot, and so
he wouldn't have. But I think Kevin Knowles will play fine there. I think safety was bad and being hurt. I think Kevin Knowles can be the other nickel.
But the other safety too is something I wonder about a little bit. But yeah, I do think those corners are really good, and I think the defensive line is going to be really good, and that's a good things to have on your defense.
I think the defense will be good again this year, and then I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I would like to see an upgraded tackle. This will be a fun week, so you want to go over to warchant.com, continue to follow. I know we have it on the board pinned up there where you can see people leaving, people coming, all that stuff, who Florida State's after. Matt Lasser and Mike will both have you covered with all the latest hullabaloo. You like that? They're a little hullabaloo.
Rick Ballou should have made that his title for his show or something.
Hullabaloo with Rick Ballou?
Something done something with it, right?
Yeah, maybe. I got to say goodbye, Corey. Wave to everybody. I'm cutting you
out.
off. All right, get out of here. Ira, you can say goodbye.
Goodbye.
There we go. Tom Wang, great job producing, buddy. I will say goodbye, too, here, although I'm 20 seconds early. And these days, there's no margin for error over here on this side of the board, gentlemen. I have to make sure I'm right up against it. So until tomorrow, make sure you tune in JCS tomorrow. By the way, Wake Up Warchant, all that good stuff. I will have probably more on the website, so warchant.com will do that. Until next time, Seminole Headlines saying peace.